Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today, I just want to talk about how out of touch the elites, the politicians, the oligarchs, the technocrats, the nouveau riche, the inheritocracy is when it comes to food affordability in this country. They are just in denial. And not only are they in denial, but they will tell you to your face that you are lying if you say that things are expensive right now. Let's have a look.
Regina Foley messaged me, and she says she is retired in Greensboro, North Carolina. She is a registered Republican all her life. She voted for you 3 different times, but she is not happy about how her prices have not come down that she sees. And she said this, quote, "I want the Republicans to keep control of Congress in 2026, but something has to be done fast. I don't see the best economy right now. Wall Street numbers do not reflect my Main Street money. Please do something, President Trump." So I guess what do you say to Regina and people like her?
Well, I do say this. Beef we have to get down. I think of groceries. You know, it's an old-fashioned word, but it's a beautiful word. Beef we have to get down, but we've got prices way down.
You know who the term groceries isn't an old term for? Everybody. Everybody needs groceries. Everybody has to worry about groceries right now. Everyone knows what the word groceries is. It's only people who've never actually had to go to a grocery store because they can have their Big Mac delivered to their big front door, have it served to them on a golden platter. The fact that the guy who's leading this country thinks that the term groceries is an archaic word is a problem. There is no other sign, and there's a multitude of signs saying that, you know, the wealthy people in this country are out of touch. But this specifically for me is it, especially right now, when tens of millions of Americans right now have lost their SNAP and EBT, have lost their ability to go get the basic necessities, the elderly, the disabled. Over 10 million children in this country right now have had their food assistance stripped away from them. And it all comes from this idea. It all comes from one thing, really, right? And this is a problem with kind of the dragon mentality, that hoarding mentality, the greed mentality of the super rich, is that it's all about the self. It's all about me. Listen, if I don't need SNAP or EBT, why would I pay into it, right? If I don't have kids and I don't need childcare, why would I pay into public childcare? Right? I have a house that I, inherited from a relative of mine. So, why would I want to pay for housing assistance for other people? It's a lack of empathy and a lack of being able to understand the troubles that people go through. And it's a massive problem when you hold the highest office in the country, because it just shows that your interest can only be for yourself and those in your class. My friends, I always say that we are one people, right? You can be an idiot MAGA supporter, or you can be a lickspittle Democrat. It doesn't really matter to me. At the end of the day, we're all one people. We've just been deluded and fooled to think that we're these different tribes. Now, can you be an irredeemable piece of shit and you actually don't belong in society just based on your political beliefs? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's becoming more and more common. But to have one of your supporters and your constituents, right, a triple Trump voter, reach out to you and say that, we want to make sure that the conservatives hold power in 2026, in 2027, but I just can't afford to live right now. Things have gotten so expensive. And for you to turn around at your constituent and say, no, actually, it's actually pretty good. You just don't know what you're talking about. I know you say you can't afford groceries, but you actually can afford groceries. I know you, like many of my constituents, were on these social programs, but you didn't actually need them. You should just work harder. I know you're retired. I know you're disabled, but get out there and bootstrap it just like I did. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. I grew up shitting into a golden toilet. My daddy gave me millions of dollars. I ripped off all my constituents with massive crypto schemes. I bankrupt pretty much every business that I've ever had, but my sole mission on this planet is to erect giant fucking buildings with my family's name on it. Yeah, that's the grassroots guy that we really need leading this country right now, as we're in this massive transition from the old guard to a new America. It's such bullshit.
Talk about the cost of Thanksgiving and the cost of living through Thanksgiving and enjoying Thanksgiving for Joe Biden, it was 25% more than it is for me at a later time. Our energy costs are way down. Our groceries are way down. Everything is way down. And the press doesn't report it. The press reports whatever the con people say. You know, I call the Democrats con men and women.
It's absolutely insane for this guy to call anybody a con man. This is a guy who's doubled his net worth specifically off bankrupting his supporters who he had buy into his crypto scheme, and every bill and action that he sold to his supporters saying that it's going to improve their lives, but in the end has only improved the lives and the bank accounts of the wealthiest people in this country, the CEOs, the shareholders, and members of the inheritocracy. But no, he's no con man. It's the people who said, listen, we're not going to sign any bills until we can make sure that people's health benefits don't either run out or are multiplied by 2 or 3. No, they're the con people. Ridiculous.
But when you look at 25% reduction in costs for Thanksgiving between Biden and me, meaning this administration, that's a tremendous number. It's the biggest reduction in cost in the history of that chart or whatever it is they do. They do a synopsis of everything. They cover every element of Thanksgiving meals. 25% down. So I don't want to hear about the affordability, because right now we're much less. If you look at energy, we're getting close to $2 a gallon gasoline. With Biden, it was $4.50, $5. Another thing, inflation. We had the worst inflation in the history of our country.
Like, you have to ask yourself at some point, who's telling him these numbers? Because there has to be somebody around him that's just assuring him that no, things are so much cheaper. Listen, people are living better lives. People are living in big houses. People can afford to feed their families. People aren't worried about health insurance. People aren't worried about the cost of cars. Thanksgiving is going to be cheap this year. It's going to be a joyous holiday. And let's argue for a minute, even if it was true, even if Thanksgiving's 25% cheaper, and it might be if you go to Aldi's, right? I mean, you can get some good deals, right? I mean, you can work it in a way that Thanksgiving, yes, can be affordable. But at the same time, when you look at everything else that's been increasing, it doesn't matter if gas is 25 cents cheaper when your utility bill has gone up by hundreds of dollars. It doesn't matter if Thanksgiving items are down 25% if you're forced to pay another $1,500 a month for your health insurance. None of these things matter, right? This guy, this term, all this bullshit is a net negative to the American people, and that's how we should look at it, right? Cut away all the bullshit. In the end, is it a plus or is it a minus? And guess what? It's a massive fucking minus is what it is. But I don't even need to tell you this. I mean, the guy the other day had a great Gatsby party. Well, at the same time, just one day away, 40 million Americans would have their food assistance taken away. That shows how much these people just, listen, you're not even top 10 when it comes to their worries. These last few years, right? This presidency, maybe the next one, who knows, is the horrific swan song of a dying generation who's done nothing but destroy this country. This isn't me giving boomer hate, because listen, I understand. Some did well and some didn't. These are the vicissitudes of life. But we're beyond arguing at this point that life is much more difficult now to grow up in America and to grow up in the world in general than it was 40, 50, 60 years ago. Starting a business was much easier 40, 50, 60 years ago. Owning a house, much easier 40, 50, 60 years ago. Starting a family, getting food, getting a car, getting health care. All these things were much easier. But in the death rattle of one of the wealthiest generations the world has ever seen, we're seeing that their final actions are simply to hoard so much wealth that they can compete with King Tut's tomb. Not to give back. What happened to the idea of like an old man plants a tree, not so it can provide him shade, but it can provide shade for the generations after him? What happened to that mentality? This is not something that exists here.
Now we have virtually no inflation at all. It's down at a very low number and a very normal number.
And we're going to talk about inflation and not being a thing. Listen, even if inflation was zero, because of the tariffs, We have essentially an artificial inflation that's been set on the people when it comes to pretty much every product out there. And the dollar isn't exactly gaining more value. So our money is worth less. Products are more expensive. So yeah, you may want people to not talk about affordability because it's the thing that's murdering your legacy. But the fact is, it's a huge, major priority to the vast majority of Americans. That's why when you had this big blue wave that happened a couple days ago, what was the biggest concern of the people who left the polls? Was it immigration? No, it was cost of living. Because it doesn't matter what promises you make, when the people can't afford to live, they won't put their trust in you, nor should they. That's the reality of this whole situation right now that Americans find themselves in.
So the affordability is much better with the Republicans. The only problem is the Republicans don't talk about it. And Republicans should start talking about it and use their heads, because we have great numbers. We have and they're going to only get better when all these jobs open up, all these factories open up that are being built all over our country. We are building auto plants. We're building AI plants. We're leading in AI over China and everybody else. When all of these plants start opening, we're going to have a revolution, a positive revolution, economic revolution like never before.
See, he paints a picture of a very common story that we've been told for generations when it comes to politics. It's just kicking the can down the road. That at the end of the day, tomorrow, right, on the horizon is a golden age. I'm going to say that we're in a golden age, but hey, the golden age is actually tomorrow. We're going to get these factories. We're going to get these new manufacturing hubs in America, even though we're going to automate it and we're going to use AI for most of it. And we're going to build AI warehouses the sizes of Manhattan that are going to cause people's utility bills in the region to go up by 200-300%. You just have to wait. You have to be patient. 1 million jobs have been lost this year alone. Wall Street is in a layoff boom. There's not more sales or any kind of organic way that profit is being made. It's just an AI bubble, and the fact that so many companies out there are saving massive amounts of money by cutting off tens of thousands of people, artificially inflating their profits even more. Not just that, but with stock buybacks. I mean, it's a consolidation of wealth and power in this country, but you paint a picture of it like it's some kind of Norman Rockwell life that's just, you just got to be a little bit more patient and it's going to be there. The people are done. The people are finished with this. Nobody wants to listen to this trash anymore. And it's pretty clear just by the presentation and the manner in which this man speaks that either senility is working its way into his preservative-addled brain, or the brain worm has just absolutely taken control at this point. Because it's just madness. None of it makes sense. None of it's based in reality. And in the end, like I said, it's just completely out of touch. But that's where we are. Nobody can afford things in America, but apparently we're in a golden age. Wall Street's in a boom while mainstream is in a steep decline. And if you can't afford things, if you think that life is a little bit more expensive, guess what? You're actually lying. It's all bullshit. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you're still here at this point, like and subscribe. Think about becoming a member. Leave a donation. Go ahead and hype the video. Leave a comment. It really helps out the algorithm. Really interesting time for the channel, really interesting time for the country, and we're all in it together. So any questions, throw it down there. But other than that, hey, it's Friday. We made it through another work week. That's a victory. Go to the dispensary, go to the liquor store, do what you have to do, be constructive or numb the pain, whatever is best for you in the moment, I guess. But hey, we love you guys as always. I hope you have a good one.